Hi guys, Brain here. I have a question. Why is it that DBD players don't seem to understand their own game? It seems that time and time again, that DBD players fail to understand or analyze correctly all the different attributes and variables that go into a match, where things go wrong, where things don't go wrong, and they just, as a general, both in the micro and the macro game, don't seem to understand things. So let's go ahead and talk about it. Before we get started, make sure you like the video if you like my content, and if you want to see more of my daily uploads, make sure you sub, because that's how they show up on your daily homepage. Other than that, let's go ahead and get started. So I've come to this understanding and this realization that DBD players just have this huge disconnect with understanding of the micro and macro game, and players seem to understand simple things like, oh, well, Stabiffle at 3 stacks means that, hey, you can get up to 8, but you lose 2 if you hit the obsession. Or hey, if I have Iron Will and I'm injured, I don't make sounds of pain. They can ID simple stuff, like this difference between a medium vault and a fast vault, or what a perk does. But when it comes to the way things go in a game, in a match, and why they happen, and what plays are bad and what plays are good, it seems like the community at large has a huge disconnect. I didn't mean a huge disconnect. My mic just gave up. That was so sad to watch. The community seems to have a huge disconnect, and I don't understand why, because in terms of Dead by Daylight, I know out of most games that I play that have some sort of competitive aspect to them, I feel like people put a lot of time into Dead by Daylight. So it always surprises me when players just can't understand why a match went wrong, or blame it on things that just don't make sense. I think the reason this got brought up to me is because for some reason one of my most popular videos, that continues to be one of my most popular videos, is the game is Survivor-sided visualized. That video is really old, and I plan to redo it at some point now that I have a lot more hours under my belt. I think most of the points I make in that video still stand, but I just kind of want to make a nicer version of it, and talk about a lot of the things that people were worried about with it. Essentially, this was just a visualization of how team cooperation is really strong, and that's why the 4v1 aspect of DBD is why survivors are more in control than the killer, because the cooperation thing is the most powerful part of the game. That's the tier list goes solo queue survivor, killer, and then somewhat coordinated survivors, and then all 4 coordinated survivors. And the reason that is because cooperation is really strong in the game. So I stripped away powers, perks, everything to try and show that how survivors shift on gens, how survivors keep each other healed, which isn't even a thing anymore because now Circle of Healing can just let you do that for free. But I was just trying to show cooperation and how strong cooperation is. But on that video, I continually got, oh, well, how is that even possible when Blight exists? Or how is that even possible when Nurse exists? This game is so killer-sided because Nurse exists, because Blight exists. And I think it just do people really think that? Straight up, these people mean these things. And it just confuses me. Do you think that do you honestly think that the game is now suddenly killer-sided just because you can ID which the top 2 killers are? Do you think that suddenly makes the game killer-sided? Do you really think that a 4-man Swift on comms can't handle a Blight or a Nurse? Do you really think that that just suddenly makes the game killer-sided? And it's just stuff like that how have so many people played this game for thousands of hours and don't understand how these things aren't related? And there's so many people that'll play, I'll watch a killer main. I'll watch a killer main stream, and he'll go through a match and he'll commit to chases way too hard. He will literally, if I injure somebody, I have to down them. I will never drop chase until I down that person. And then they'll say, oh, well, the map was bogus. I was on Ornament super long. Or, oh, I got out perks, chat. They all brought DS dead hard. And it's no, the issue was that you committed to chases too hard. Sometimes you gotta take a hit and leave it. But he'll identify it as oh, well, it was clearly the map, it was clearly perks. And it's I don't understand. Why do you think, and this isn't something I have an answer for, but it's why do you think the community just in general has no idea how to diagnose a loss, how to diagnose problems with the game. Why do we have such a huge disconnect with the way the game is? Because it's consistent. It really is consistent. Like, almost every player has such a problem diagnosing issues with the game and issues with singular matches and why they go wrong. Like, we really have like no clue, no idea what's happening. And it's so widespread. It's so widespread. When I've played other games like Dota or like fighting games or like, you know, anything like that, I'm like, there are some players who just don't get it, right? And they need to be like led around by their teammates or by friends who also play the game so they can understand. But like, it's never been the mass majority of the community. The mass majority of the Dead by Daylight community can't understand what's overpowered in the game, why certain sides are more powerful or certain things are more powerful, why matches go wrong. It's like they literally don't get it. Like they literally just go, oh, well, it feels like this. It feels like this is the problem, so I'm just going to say that that's the problem. They don't actually invest in learning the macro game or the micro game. They just kind of like get emotional and just say, that's it. But like they stick with it. You know, like it's okay to feel emotional a moment and say like, oh, well, it was the map that screwed me over, or it was those perks that screwed me over. Like it's fine to say that in the moment. But then you come down from your emotional like center and go, oh, well, I probably overcommitted to a lot of those chases. But like, that's not what the community does. The community like doubles down and just like refuses to like learn the game. So I guess my question to you is like, why do you think that is? Why do you think that the community in general has this huge disconnect with like how like their understanding of the game? Like how? I've never been in a game community that has had such a problem understanding its own game. And it's just like really like weird. It's really odd. So hopefully it's something you can help me understand, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really appreciate you, buds. And hopefully I will see you in the next video. But if I don't, I'll see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.